just in case push comes to shove. Amen. He won't run from me, but he'll help me. All right, let me get to the word. 2 Kings chapter number 6. Thank God for all these young people. Amen. 2 Kings chapter number 6. There in chapter number 6, I want to look at verse number 8. And then I'll read a few of the following verses thereafter in 2 Kings chapter number 6, verse number 8. I pray that you'd stand and honor the word of God. If the president walked in, we'd all have to stand. If the judge walked in, we'd all have to stand. But neither one of them gave any blood for us, so we ought to be willing to stand for the word of God. 2 Kings chapter number 6, verse number 8. And I'll read from the New King James Version, and so my Bible reads it this way. Now the king of Syria was making war against Israel, and he consulted with his servants, saying, my camp will be in such and such a place. And the man of God sent to the king of Israel, saying, beware that you do not pass this place, for the Syrians are coming down there. And then the king of Israel sent someone to the place of which the man of God had told him. Thus he warned him, and he was watchful there, not just once or twice. Therefore the heart of the king of Syria was greatly troubled by this thing, and he called his servants and said to them, will you not show me which of us is for the king of Israel? And one of his servants said, none, my lord, O king, but Elisha, the prophet who is in Israel, tells the king of Israel the words that you speak in your bedroom. So he said, go and see where he is, that I may send and get him. And it was told him, surely he is in Dothan. Therefore he sent horses and chariots and a great army there. They came by night and surrounded the city. And when the servant of the man of God arose early and went out, there was an army surrounding the city with horses and chariots. And his servant said to him, at last, my master, what shall we do? Verse 16. So he answered, do not fear, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them. Would you turn and tell that person beside you, God's got your back. Take your seats in the presence of the Lord. God got your back. I need about 5 of y'all to just get in my fave 5 who believe that, and turn around and tell about 3-4 people in your neighborhood, God's got your back. You give God praise for the word he's going to share. God's got you. At the time of the text, my dear friends, at the time of this particular narrative, there's a serious contention between the nation of Syria and the nation of Israel. According to the text, the Syrian king has the desire to make war against the nation of Israel. And you understand that the Bible is unclear as to why the Syrian king wants to fight against Israel. But the truth of the matter is, and the reality of the text, is that our haters never need a reason to hate. All right. When you look at the text, my dear friends, the Bible would have us to know that the Syrian king, the enemy, decided that he was going to allow his troops to go up against the army of Israel. And when you look at it, when you look at the tail of the tape, when you look at these two nations, you will understand that the nation of Israel on paper could literally be no match to the nation of Syria. In research, you would discover that the Syrian army was considered to be the most modern military of that day. They had the latest weaponry. They had the ability to reconnoiter areas and gather intel on their enemy. As a matter of fact, research would have us to know that they were a multifaceted army, for they had the ability, depending on the size of the army or the enemy that they were going up against, they had the ability to be small as a raiding party, but then they also had the ability, depending on the size of the enemy, to be large as a 100,000 member force that was fully equipped with horses and chariots. However, my dear friends, you must understand that they were going up against the Israeli army, which was no military at all, but rather a militia. It was a group that consisted of a group of civilians who would just show up to battle. They had no formal military training. They had no prior military background. They had no military strategy. They had no military strategists. But they would just show up to battle, ready to fight. As a matter of fact, they were farmers and not fighters. They had no formal military background. And so when we look at it on paper, we have the Syrian army, which was a mighty army. This was a modern military army, mighty army, but they were going up against this group of civilians. They were going up against this group who had no formal training. They just came to battle ready to fight. When we look at it, my dear friends, it's baffling because when you look at the text, it's baffling because I looked at it and you'll notice that every time the Syrian army got ready to fight the army of Israel, they never could defeat them. That's amazing because I just told you that the Israeli army, they was ripe for the picking. They were ripe to be beat. They were ripe to be whipped. They were ripe to lose. But every time the Syrian army got ready to attack them, they never could defeat them. They never could defeat them because Israel, you will understand, they were always one step ahead of the enemy. And I thought about this thing and I began to praise God because when you look at it, the only thing that Israel had going for them was the fact that God had their back. And I wanted to pause here and share with somebody that whatever God has your back, you gotta know that you plus God is automatically the majority. Ain't got long to do this, but you gotta learn how to give God praise because there were times in your life that you thought that you weren't gonna make it. There were times in your life that you thought you would be defeated, but you gotta give God praise because God always kept you one step ahead of the enemy. I don't want to work too hard, sound man. I don't know if they're giving y'all signals, but I don't want to work too hard here. But you got to understand, my dear friends, that the enemy, they never could defeat them because Israel was always one step ahead of the enemy. And when you look at verse number 11, the Bible would have us to know that the king of Syria is frustrated because he can't seem to get his hands on the enemy because they always stayed one step ahead of them. Because what you got to understand is that they were receiving divine intervention. When you look at it, the Bible would have us to know that the king of Israel is connected to somebody that knew the Lord. Every time the king of Syria would come up with strategies, God always would intercept those thoughts and transmit the thoughts to Elisha, and then Elisha would go and tell the king of Israel. And so by the time the king of Syria got ready to attack, they never could attack them because they were always one step ahead